And then there we are. We're live. Let me get out here. I'll make it public. We can share it. People can like it. Smash that like button.
Outstanding.
Smash the like and subscribe or whatever the kids say. Do the social medias. Do them all. Do the stuff that we're supposed to do. There we go. Now it's officially public. If you're out there and you're watching and you catch this, give it a share. And as always, when we do this show, happy Wednesday night, baby. Happy hump day. We got Josh Smith. We got a round two. I love a round two. If you guys don't know Josh, well, where have you been? Because he's been on here before. Go back and catch that one. We got to know Josh a little bit. Josh is going to do some intro stuff and just catch you back up in case you're really lazy and you don't want to go back and listen to the last episode. But we're going to focus most of the time on something unbelievable. That's the best way I can describe it, Josh. Like what the capstone,
fantastic,
crazy. It's like, and I think you and I have talked about it 3 times now, and I'm always like, really? Like that's a thing? That's a thing we can do, and that's real, and this is a thing. It's mind blowing. So we're gonna get into all that. Before we do, and as always, that we got to do now. This is a thing that apparently you need to do when you have a show and you have a sponsor, which is we got to talk about our sponsor, Service Monster, the CRM.
Buddy.
I talk about Service Monster all day long if you let me. But go check it out. You need a CRM to run your home service business. And Josh, this is like a thing that happens to me every once in a while. It happened twice this week. I was doing demos with bookkeeping clients, and they want to do some bookkeeping. And I'm like, well, what do you use for a CRM? Twice this week, people were like, don't have one. Or
really?
And I'm like, what? How do you even know where to drive? Like, what are you printing out MapQuests? I don't understand how you work in a world without a CRM that like tells you where to go and has notes of your job. And some of it, and they're not quite ready for what you got, which we'll get into some of the constraints of what you got. But a lot of it is they don't have employees yet, and so they can punch the address into Google and they know their customers. But man, when you start scaling a business and you add employees, to be able to put notes in there and send people out to the right spot. And put a note in that says Mrs. Jones is freaking crazy. Let's never go back to this house again. Like we've got some notes like that every once in a while. That like storage of all the stuff with the client and how you interact with the client and how your employees interact with the client. Man, I don't know how you run a home service business with that one. To the point that if somebody does a demo with me and says, "Oh, I don't have one yet," like scratch my demo. We're talking about CRMs. And I'm like adamant about this. I don't sell anybody anything. Service Monster sponsors me. That's awesome. I love Service Monster. I use it. It works for me. It might not work for you. That's fine. But go check them out. Go check out Jobber. Go check out House Call Pro. Go check out Service Autopilot. Check them all out. I love Service Monster. I recommend that one. Works great for me. I like the way it looks. I like the way it interacts. I like the way it talks to our customers. I like the way my employees use it. But get the one that works for you. Make sure you have one. Before you do bookkeeping, have a CRM. Like this is coming from the bookkeeper. Again, I'm not trying to sell you shit. I literally won't sell you bookkeeping because I firmly believe you need a better operating system before you hire me to help you run your business. The first thing I would tell you is you need a CRM if I was doing your books. So let's just do that. I already know I'm going to tell you that. You might as well just do it before I even start doing work for you. I'm not adamant about it. Check out Service Monster. And I talk about this all the time in the fall. Don't do it. I mean, like check it out now, but like it's the fall. You need to be going and making money. Don't spend your time setting up a CRM. Do whatever you're doing, your shitty process now, your shitty CRM, whatever you're on now, but check it out. And then like when December comes and January comes and you're slow, then that's the time to switch. So do it then, but check it out now. Do yourself a favor. Service Monster. There's QR codes all over the place. You can, if you point your phone at this screen, you're going to end up there. There's 72 QR codes I got on here for you. So go check out Service Monster. We got
that's a pretty strong recommendation if you're saying you need CRM before you need your bookkeeping services. Like, I mean, you can't get much stronger of a recommendation than that.
I'm like a weird finance person because in a funny way, like I don't care about money. Like I care about enough money. As long as I have enough money to go hunting and fishing and doing sweet shit. My goal in life is like, I'm not Scrooge McDuck. I'm not like, let me do more of it. I do super enjoy helping people. Like selfishly, when I get to help business owners, Like, I'm like, yeah, you got some help, but I feel really good. And that's really valuable to me, is like feeling like I did some good stuff for people, which is why I got you here, because I feel like we can do some good stuff for people. And obviously it's a for-profit business. Like, we need to make money. But I'm like, this is a marathon, not a sprint, right? I don't want to make money from people right now. If we help you, we can help you make more money, and then we get to like hang out for the rest of your business life, and we'll make money together. That sounds like way more fun. I'm more concerned about making money 20 years from now and building that for the long term than like, ooh, how can I make a few bucks today? I don't care about making money today. I'm biased because my wife makes money today, so that helps. That helps. I'm not just faking it. Joe Devanel in the house. Joe, why aren't you out fishing? Aren't the redfish just snapping right now? What the hell are you doing out there? But anyway, Josh, welcome back to the show. I'm super pumped to talk about this program. Like I said, Joe, you're gonna want to watch this, Joe Devanel. You're gonna need this thing. I'm gonna have you intro yourself, but this program we're gonna talk about, I think I've asked you like multiple times, partially just I'm not smart enough, but Joe says son's he's got soccer playoffs. He's doing the soccer playoffs.
Very cool.
Gotta skip a fishing night to hit some soccer playoffs. I've like grilled you a couple times on this thing, Josh, because it's like so unbelievable. And in the episode, whatever write up for this, I had explained how like you win as a business because you get awesome benefits to your employees. Like, in the home service space, that's like hard to do. Not a lot of us can offer benefits to our employees. And so that's like a huge win. It doesn't cost you anything. Well, that's always a huge win. Like, you get benefits for your employees and it really doesn't cost you anything. And as a matter of fact, so that's just like one win wrapped up. As a matter of fact, you actually pay less in payroll taxes. Well, that's cool. Like, less money that I got to pay the government, and your employees do too. So your employees actually like clear more money, you clear more money, and they get benefits. It sounds too good to be true. Now there is a loser, and this is just my assumption, but the taxpayer loses a little bit somewhere along the line. But it's a fraction of a fraction for every taxpayer, and it's already been decided on. So like, just use the program. We're going to get into all of it. You're going to explain to us how all this works, and we're going to do nerdy stuff. But first, give us a little recap. Obviously, you've been on the show before, and again, if you listeners are out there too lazy, which I probably would be. I'm not trying to like dog on you guys. I probably would be too lazy. I'd be like, just have him reintroduce himself. So Josh, give us a quick intro on how we got here, a little bit on ROC, what you guys do, how this fits in, and then we'll nerd out on the process. And we got to talk, everybody's favorite topic. It's October 23rd. We got to talk some politics. I think we got to talk politics here. And I'm curious again. You and I talked about it before we went live, but I'm not like a huge, I usually avoid talking politics because it kind of annoys me, especially the fucking commercials. I'm about done with those. I'm real done with those. Both sides annoy me. Like, I just like, they all annoy me. But because of the space you play in with benefits and government incentives, like, I think your opinion is going to be really interesting. So anyway, I'm going to shut up. Josh Smith, give us a little intro
on the politics thing or on the commercials. It's funny. I don't have regular, I guess, live TV or whatnot. And so,
oh yeah, because you're down in Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah, and so we do streaming stuff or whatnot. And so, but I was in a hotel last night and watched regular like ABC for the first time in, I don't know, months. And
yeah,
so
my apologies.
Seeing all of those commercials or whatnot, like, it was crazy, like back to back to back.
Oh, they just can't stop.
Yep.
I think the candidates and us and everybody would be better off if it was illegal to run political ads. That's what it should be. It should just be illegal. You can't spend. They're just spending taxpayer money. Like, they're spending our money. Let's just not let's put our taxpayer money into sweet benefits instead of having people run bullshit ads that they're all like in the fun. This always cracks me up. Both sides are doing it. Like, I watched the last debate and I just wanted to put my head through a window. They're like, this person's just going to lie to you about all this stuff. And I was like, no shit, you both are. And now you're like lying about the other person lying. And it's like, you guys are so full of shit. You both are so full of shit that you're literally calling each other liars. And then you're lying. While you're doing that, you're lying about the other person. It's like, I don't know. I don't like these
are our future leaders.
These are the best two people we got. They're so full of shit that they're literally lying about the other one's lies. And I'm just like, I just can't. Like, if Josh Smith ran, you got my vote, man.
Nobody needs that, man.
Nobody needs that, but you're better off, in my opinion. I feel like that'd be a huge win for everybody. But here we are. This is what we got. It's what we got. But anyway, again, we're gonna get into the politics of it. Give us a little background on Josh Smith. How the heck did we get here? What's ROC Financial Group? And then we'll get into just the craziest benefits thing that's ever existed in the world ever.
Very cool. So, I mean, ROC Financial, really at this point, we are predominantly in the health space. So last time we were on here, talked about health sharing. We're going to talk about some other benefits tonight. But we also are involved in the life insurance world, but that's not really the predominant focus. Really, the predominant focus is how do we help businesses and individuals as well, but how do we help businesses with being able to have access to health resources that, are going to make sure that, one, it's affordable, two, that it's taking care of them or their employees, and setting everybody up for as much success as possible. So we've been doing this for the last couple of years, having a good time at it. Further background on me, 25 years in corporate, and kind of just got to the point where I was like, I need something a little bit different, and so struck out on our own, and we're just kind of figuring things out, life in general, and ended up down here in Puerto Rico and seeing how we can serve as many businesses and individuals as we possibly can.
Funny, in this small business space, for so many of us, we have this huge confliction, which is we all want to offer benefits. We all want to pay our employees more. We all want to offer them benefits, but we also live in the real world. And for a lot of our businesses, in the home service space, there's so many new entrants, and some grow really fast and some hit multi-millions really fast. But the faster you grow, the less money you make. That's just the nature of growing a business. You have so many investments, and it's not like us as business owners are pulling in private equity capital, right? It's no, we're cashing out our 401k and we're asking our wife if we can eat ramen for another couple of weeks because we got to try to make payroll, right? It ain't glorious.
Yeah.
So when we think about offering benefits, we're like, how the hell would I ever afford to offer people benefits? I could barely could consistently pay myself. And I talk about this openly and candidly, my bookkeeping business is a year in, we're flying. I'm so happy and thankful, and it's been an awesome journey so far. We're a year in and we got 150 clients, and we're at a pace that I couldn't believe revenue wise. I've made $0. I made $0. The other day I had to put $7,500 back in. Now I coach people on this, and I've done this before, so it's not scary. I know that it's happening, and I know that the faster we grow, the more we're investing, and we're doing. Again, I talked about this earlier. Making money is not the primary thing right now. We'll make plenty of money later. That's cool, but I don't exist to be how can I make some money today? It does help that my wife is in Chicago right now working, so I get to be here talking to you. But it's just so challenging for a small business owner because if we do want to grow, we have to make these investments, and growth is really expensive.
Yep.
And therefore we just don't trying to set aside money for benefits is just something we can't even fathom until we're at least $1 million or plus. It's just hard to afford before that. I love
the part there is makes things harder in terms of sometimes in recruiting the appropriate talent that you need, and being able to be competitive in the marketplace, when you're trying to go up against those larger organizations or whatnot, or folks that have already overcome some of those hurdles. It can put you at a disadvantage.
It's so hard. Chad helped chimed in. He said, open a GoFundMe for my guy's benefit. That's kind of what it feels like. I want to help you. Here, what's the best way I can help you? I'll open up a GoFundMe and we'll see if we can get some people. And Hendrix Mowing chimed in about the political thing. This cracks me up because I do feel like there's some of this going on. They pretend to be enemies, but they're all in cahoots. They have the best job security ever. This two-party system, all they got to do is pin us against each other. They get the best job security in the world, and they all win and we all lose. It's man, they got it figured out. I wish I would have figured that out.
Somehow they leave office and they've got a net worth 10 times greater than when they went in.
And they just happen to know what stocks to buy and what stocks to sell. And it's It's just it's just the corruption level is just like getting off the charts. Is like all we can do is sit here and laugh about it. But and we can sit here and laugh about it, and we can offer our employees better benefits. Is what we can do. Those are our options. That's what we get to do. So you left the corporate world. You got ROC Financial Group going. You might have said this on the last episode. Why Puerto Rico? What, like, you just like the warm weather? You don't want to come up here by me in Minnesota and get frostbite, or what's going on?
Man, so I just spent the last 2 weeks in Atlanta, and it was cold up there. It was like 36 degrees overnight one night. And
that sounds comfortable. That's nice.
No, that's cold. I came back to Puerto Rico today. It was 95 degrees. But no, came down here for the tax benefits. And so 0% on capital gains can be a beautiful thing. And
there you go.
So yes, there are definitely some over and above the beautiful weather and the beautiful island and beaches. There are some pretty amazing tax benefits down here too.
Oh yeah. Sally, my aunt, jumped on. She said, and you can vote. I still wonder, like, I almost don't trust that process either. I don't want to be like a conspiracy theorist, but on the news of Minneapolis right now, there's like, oh, somebody left the van open with all these ballot boxes in it. It's like, yeah, I'm sure that was unintentional, and we're going to do something about it. It's like that. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, and there's a unique thing about Puerto Rico. By being a resident here, I actually cannot vote in the presidential election.
Oh, really?
Yep. We're a territory, not a state. So we do not get the opportunity to vote.
Even if you've been a U.S. citizen, you still don't get like a mail-in vote. They're just like, nope, you don't count anymore, Josh.
Yep. Well, they kicked me off the roster.
You're literally a second-rate citizen. You're like the definition of second-rate citizen now. But you can still help the rest of us. You're like on the outside of the chaos looking in like, I can still help, guys. I still got some things that are useful.
I can see the things you don't see. Yep.
Yeah. Well, and you don't have to watch our news. So,
and there's that.
Damn you for figuring it out and leaving the rest of us here.
I'll just be at the beach.
Yeah. Sounds awesome. But now, again, like, I'm a little biased because I'm up in Minnesota, but there's two things that we have that you don't, which is our ice fishing is way better than yours.
Absolutely.
And I'm guessing our bow hunting is too. I'm just guessing. I don't know what kind of critters you got running around, but I'm guessing our bow hunting's still a little bit better.
Unless you're wanting to do some bow hunting on crocodiles. We had some alligators or caimans or something. Caimans around here.
Oh yeah, like the saltwater.
Would be good for
like
80 pounds or something.
Tastes like chicken. Have you had gator
that's
before?
What they say.
It tastes good. It's good, man. It's like a little bit like fish, but more texture like chicken. It's the perfect. If you like fish and you like chicken, you're gonna love gator. It's got everything. It's just like the perfect combo. It's like beer. It's like beer cheese soup. If you like cheese and you like beer, you're probably gonna love beer cheese soup. If you like fish and you like chicken, you're gonna love gator. So it's all there is to it. So what as this business for you guys evolves, like this benefit that we're going to talk about is kind of like a new offering for you from the last time we talked, and we didn't talk about it on the last episode.
Right.
We're going to get into the specifics of it, but like on a day-to-day basis, how are you guys, like, you don't need to give your secret sauce, but is like finding these types of offerings and these types of products, is that like an ongoing effort that you're trying to disseminate Obamacare and whatever else? There's so many different, I can't even imagine how many pages of regulations you would have to go through to figure out what can and can't be done. Is that like just an ongoing process forever? And I guess, especially with like new elections and regimes, they're going to change shit, and then you're going to figure more stuff out.
Yeah. Then you continue to evolve and continue to roll with the punches. But yeah, absolutely. Like understanding what's capable within the tax code, and that benefits us on both sides, because there are things in the life insurance world, as an example, that, there are certain things you can do with life insurance based on what's in the tax code that, can be advantageous, but certain things now in the health space as well, or the wellness benefits, preventative benefits that we can provide that are incentivized. And to your point, like, we'll see what happens, how things evolve, depending on what the new regime looks like here in November. But we can operate with what we know today and look to, take advantage. I mean, the tax code was built for us to take advantage of it. Like that's what we all should be doing is looking for, like, the tax code is huge and it's filled with opportunities for us to figure out how to pay less in taxes. So use it to your advantage.
Do you think the people that write no, it's not a do you think, let's go with like a percentage from a 0 to 100%. What percentage do you think the people that are coming up with this tax code actually understand all the things that can be done with the tax code that they put in place? Like, do they understand 50% of what they actually put in place, or do they understand 99%? Like, where on the spectrum do you think they actually do they intend for these things to happen, or do they just not even consider, because it's so complex and there's so many, like, they try to incentivize so much weird stuff with the tax code.
I think that there's a certain amount of unintended consequences that probably fall in there. And and I mean, it's evolved over, however many years to get to where we're at today. And lobbyists are out there trying to, get what they need for, their constituents or for the organizations they're lobbying on behalf of or whatnot. And so I think it's a hodgepodge, and, you got to just get in and figure out what's possible. And, it's that nobody questions whether or not you can write off a meal or whether you can write off, use Section 172 deductions or whatnot for your vehicles and stuff. But then, some of it's, folks don't talk about as much in terms of like some of the wellness benefits that we're working on right now in terms of how you can use that to your advantage.
Yeah. And like, as business owners, I mean, like, I do bookkeeping, and I know our business owners mostly avoid looking at their books. I guarantee they ain't looking at the tax code. I do need to put this up on the screen here because I just want to make sure I'm not in trouble. My wife did a quick check-in, wanted to know, did the kids go to bed? And the best answer I can give you, Marty Marie, is as far as I know,
they're not in the room with you right now, so we're going to.
They're not in here, and so I can rule out this space. And I'll put it this way: as you can see that my ear is exposed. The 2-year-old stopped screaming, which either means he fell asleep or the 8-year-old got him out of the crib. And then they could be anywhere, like they could be partying out on the street. I don't know what they do. My girls both got earrings recently, and so they have like a medicine they need to put on their ears. But I was like 15 minutes late jumping out with you, and I was like, Danny, you're in charge. I got Josh waiting for me. Here's the medicine stuff. Here's the Q-tip. You know what to do, right? And Reggie, our 6-year-old, is like, I don't know how to do it. And I'm like, you look in a mirror. You put the thing on the Q-tip. You put it on your ear. I'm pretty sure you can figure. I know you're 6, girl. Pretty sure you can figure it out. Big test. This is a big test. And then I was like, Danny, you're in charge. So they could be partying. They might not even be in my house anymore. Sorry, Marty. I did my best. And but I think they're good. I'm gonna give it, like, there's a 94% chance that everything's okay.
Or they're streaming Netflix.
Yeah, I think they would end up on YouTube. Or Disney watching some stuff. There's screens in the house. I don't think they're gonna go out and cause trouble because there's screens here. And if they're gonna like do anything, they're gonna just be like glued to that damn thing if they're staying awake later than they're supposed to. So I think we're safe.
Perfect.
They might be tired tomorrow. She said, let's hope for the best. And I agree. That was exactly my strategy when I shut myself in this office and said, Danny, you're in charge. My strategy was, let's hope for the best. I probably could have shut the baby gate. I probably could have. I didn't. Now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't shut that, and I probably could have shut that. That would have been. Then at least I probably would have heard if they were like climbing over it or opening it. So we really are just hoping for the best here, Josh. That's just what we're doing.
Well, sometimes you got to just roll with it.
You know, they say hope isn't a strategy, but sometimes it's just the best thing you got. So that's what we're gonna roll with tonight. Yeah. So on the benefits thing, let's get into specifically what you have uncovered, how people execute it, what the constraints are. And then I want to get into how you view the election and like what that has you thinking about and how you business plan around it. But let's talk about this benefit option. Like I said earlier, it's like you get better benefits for your employees. It doesn't cost you anything. You save money on payroll taxes. Your employees save money on payroll taxes. It's a win-win-win-win. Lose for the taxpayer, but it's already decided, so you might as well use it. Give us a breakdown. I probably didn't even get it right, but I tried to hit the high level. Give us a breakdown of how the heck this thing comes together.
Yeah, I would say you did very well. So nice work. But so at the end of the day, like these plans aren't necessarily new. They've been around for a while, but I would say they've a lot of times been implemented poorly, or people have been operating in some gray area. But as recent as April of this year, the IRS actually came out and ruled and gave us some really great clarity on how we can leverage these type of plans, and actually said that, hey, the money that comes back to the employee that you referenced, that money is not taxable. So that's kind of the basis of what we're doing. And so what we've got is a preventative wellness plan. And so by providing this, and that's, if you go back to Obamacare, that was a big piece of Obamacare, was incentivizing preventative wellness. So how do we keep people out of the hospitals? How do we keep them from getting sick? And so incentivizing employers to implement preventative health plans was a big piece of that. And so ultimately what we're able to offer is what we said, preventative wellness plan that provides the employees with some awesome telemedicine benefits, prescription benefits, and an indemnity plan, so think of that like Aflac, right? So you go to the hospital, if you get admitted, you get $1,000. Then if you have to stay longer than that, longer than one night, then it's $100 a day. And
paying your bills for you a little bit while you're out.
A little bit, right? Or it's paying for your deductible if you have traditional health care. But if you don't, it's, offsetting some of the bill, or it's helping you make sure that, you're continuing to, pay some bills. So
I gotta give a quick shout out. Teresa McConnell's in the house. Teresa, listen up. Like this is the thing you need. You're like hitting this level. You're hitting this level where the super applies. So you're gonna dig this thing. Teresa's beautiful. Teresa's a shit.
So the employees benefit, like they get all these wellness benefits, right? So the other side to that is the way that it's implemented in their kind of in the paycheck, where the cost of the program happens above the line, and then there's a claim that's made below the line. So at the end of the day, what happens is the taxable income goes down, but their take-home pay actually goes up. So on average, we're seeing like $100 to $200 increase in the employees' take-home pay on a monthly basis, which, nobody's getting rich over $100, but it's,
that's a couple of cases of Busch Light. That's a couple of
cases of gas.
That's a couple of cases of Busch Light where I'm from. So
right.
I'll take it. I'll take a couple $100 a month here and there.
It's, maybe a couple of boxes of ammo. So
yeah, for my rifle, it's about one box, unfortunately. I got anyway. But I like where your head's at. It is deer season. It is about that time of year
here. So employers are seeing more take home, but because we reduce the taxable income of the employee, that means, to your point earlier, the FICA tax side of the equation for the employer goes down, and it's on average it's about $500 savings per employee per year on that side of the equation. So employers not paying for these benefits, so there's no net cost. In fact, they're saving $500. The employees are taking home more money, plus they get access to all of these awesome benefits, which, talking about it from for businesses that aren't necessarily at the point of providing full health care, because that's expensive. We've all seen, people, you go out to the marketplace and you're paying $1,500 a family. It's expensive, but with this solution, they receive the telehealth which they actually advocate that can become your primary care provider. So like your general doctor. So it's not just I got a cold. You can go and talk to them about, I've got whatever else going on in my body, or anything from health to mental health to dietitian stuff. Like it's a full range product that you can provide to your employees that, again, it's not insurance. So if they literally go out and break their leg, like there's still going to be a bill for, putting the cast on and whatnot, but it can save a ton of money for folks and provide some really awesome support for the employees and their families. And that's another good call out, is that it doesn't just cover the employee. It covers the employee, their spouse, their kids, all get access to the telemedicine component and the prescription benefit side. So
we that was the thing, especially in our maid service businesses where we have like armies of employees. Like that is the tool that we have as a human to go clean the thing, right? It's like we have a vacuum and a mop and some rags and some spray, but the human is the thing. And so you've got this army of labor, and it's like we're always trying to offer some sort of benefits, but usually the best you can do until you hit a pretty big level is some sort of AFLAC type of plan. And it usually falls on the employee to pay. Like I know we would offer it in a lot of our businesses, but we couldn't chip in a ton. Again, like we don't have any margin to be able to do it.
Right.
And still be able to grow the business. And so just the ability to like offer it, partially because you want to take care of your employees. Like we care.
Absolutely.
As business owners, like we want our employees to be well. And selfishly, like we suffer when they're out too, and we suffer when they're unhealthy too. And so we want them to have preventative care, and we want them to be as well as possible. But it's also equally important that we can use this in recruiting. And we talked to Sean Day that runs our recruiting business, which is there's just if you're running recruiting ads, it's sex appeal, right? Now it's not do they like you? It's like, are you the sexiest one in the bar? That's how recruiting works. They're going by your looks. And if you don't have anything sexy to offer, recruiting gets really hard. It's hard to attract the right sort of people if you have nothing sexy to offer. And so if you have this to offer, which basically says like, hey, we offer these benefits, they're free to you, and they're going to allow you to increase your take home pay, that's a pretty sexy recruiting tool in and of itself. And I think that's super important, because that's like with most of the business owners I work with, a lot of them, the number one challenge that they all face is, how do I attract talent? How do I find good people? And this is just such a cool way to set yourself apart.
And I think, tell me what you see from the conversations you have, but I think recruiting 100%, but also the retention side of it. I feel like I hear a lot that like sometimes you're losing people because they need those type of benefits. And so if there's another company that's able to provide that sexy benefit, well, they might like working for you, but they need to be able to take care of their family as well and make sure that there's some level of coverage being provided there. So I think, recruiting and retention, the two R's, right, are a big deal.
I want to hit on, this is like going to be a sidetrack, but I just love hitting the listener questions here. We got Hendrik saying, I want to provide, and I'm not an expert on this. I just want to be clear. And so Josh can weigh in, and I'll weigh in with my thoughts. Hendrik says, I want to provide my employees something more stable than a 401k, but I'm not big enough to provide pensions yet, which is my goal. Are there options I can provide for them that's more in between a 401k and a pension? I think I worked in the corporate world for a while, and pensions are kind of gone. The 401k took their place. I don't think a 401k is unstable. I think a 401k would be fine, and that would be incredible to be able to offer employees. Part of it is like, hey, we have a 401k. The real big thing, and like, again, this is like a corporate world thing, but is how much you match, right? That's what people are looking for. The 401k took the place of the pension. I don't know anybody that's offering pensions anymore. It's just not a thing that I don't think you need. If you did, you would be like ultra competitive, but you also might be broke. And so I think a 401k is not a bad option. It's just how much can you match? And one of the things I've run into too, because we we had this dream of being able to offer 401ks too, which is the current generation doesn't want money later. And it was a really hard thing for us to wrap our minds around. We talked to them a lot about, hey, if we had a 401k, would you put money into it? Would you be willing to put money in and we match it? And 0% of our employees, we had 100 employees at one point in time, 0% would have contributed to their 401k. They just don't care. They want money now. They would way rather have money in their paycheck now. And it like blew my mind because I'm like, save. Like I even said earlier, I don't care about money now. I want money later. I want to build something cool later. And so Hendricks, one of the I don't know if this is in between, and Josh, I want you to weigh in too. One of the things I've been really thinking about for best damn bookkeeping, and I think I have my mind made up. I don't know that I'm thinking about it anymore. I think this is a decision that I've made. Is I want my business to be owned by the employees, not necessarily just a 401k, but I want to become an ESOP. And so my exit strategy isn't I'm going to go find the right buyer. My exit strategy is I'm going to sell this business to my employees who are vested. And I got to start building that now. And it's expensive. Like you probably need to be a $5 million business before that even makes sense. I think we'll get there in our business. I think we have, there's no ceiling. We're not geographically constrained for bookkeeping, which is nice. But I love that incentive for employees to have that super long runway where if they're around long enough, like they get to own part of the business. And I think that's a cool incentive. And that's it's like a feeling incentive versus just, is it more money? Like, yeah, it'll be more money. You have stock in the company and yeah, it costs money for me to exit. But I've done a lot of acquisitions and I just dislike the negotiation part of it. It just feels like, ooh, can I screw you over more than you can screw me over? Like there's nothing like wholesome about it. And so it'd be really nice to just be like, employees, this business is yours. And like, we have a third party valuation and I'm out and the business buys me out and you guys acquire shares as you go based on how long you've been here. I think it's a really cool incentive. That's not 401k or pension, but effectively giving them really long-term incentive to stick around. And it's more than just hey, you have a 401k and you can invest it in other people's companies. Like, well, you got like a 401k, but it's invested here. And when you make this thing grow, you make more money. It's not like if the S&P goes up, you make more money. It's like if best damn bookkeeping goes up, you make more money. So it's like a double incentive. It's long-term incentive, but also incentive to make our company kick ass because you own part of it. Yeah. So I like that angle. It's expensive to set up, and I'll shut up now, Josh, and you can tell me how stupid I am. But I'm very convicted for my business that I would love to do that route.
No, I think ESOPs are awesome. I have to introduce you. I had a good conversation with some guys the other day about some ESOPs and putting them together with some powerful trust type conversations and the tax benefits of such. And so that might be something that'll interest you in the future. But to your point, I mean, interestingly, I actually just read an article a couple of days ago of have you heard of, I believe it's the QT gas station chain?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So they are actually one of probably the last few companies that do actually offer a pension.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they hire from within and, very like ton of 20, 30, 40-year-old or 40-year veterans of the company and stuff. And so anyway, but yeah, to your point, like in my corporate world, experience 401ks have been the norm. I'm personally, again, I talked about kind of background in the whole life space as well. Like I'm actually a big proponent of using whole life versus 401ks because of the fact that, once you're locked into a 401k, like with very few exceptions, your money's locked up for quite a long time. And, you're putting money in at today's tax rate to save today's tax rate. But in my opinion, at some point in the future, tax rates are going to go up. And so when you go to actually use that money, you're paying tomorrow's tax rate. So I love using whole life as a kind of as a retirement vehicle. But not sure how that fits in specifically to
was to say that
between a 401k and
I was to say whole life gets tricky with like employee situations. I'm with you. Like I have, and this is a conversation I have with my financial advisor all the time. And I'm a finance dude. I like some people are like, why do you have a financial advisor? Like you're a finance person. I'm like, you just need another smart person like run stuff by. And I don't like live in the world of insurance. And like there's so many estate things and life insurance things and whole life. Like I don't understand all of those ins and outs. And I don't want to. I just want to do people's books, man. I just want to do like small business finance. I don't want to know all that stuff. But Bryce, my buddy from Northwest, he has his own firm, but he's part of Northwestern Mutual, right? They're all like their own little mini businesses. But that's a combo I have with him all the time. And we talk often about like, yep, you got your 401ks and Marty's got hers. She works at 3M. And I was at Cargill, which Cargill was awesome. We had a 401k and an ESOP because it's a privately held company owned by the employees. It's the biggest privately held company in the world, or at least like in different parts of time it is. There's Koch Industries, not like Coca-Cola, but K-O.
The Koch brothers.
Yeah, the Koch brothers at K-O-C-H. And they're out of Illinois somewhere, and they're massive. But like Cargill's got 150,000 employees across the globe. It's just freaking massive. And we had an ESOP, like as an employee, once you're vested, you own part of Cargill. And I still do. I think and they're in the food space. Food ain't going away. Like there's a lot of things that are going to go away, replaced with technology. Food ain't going away. It might change, and when it changes, and if it changes, and how it changes, they're going to have a huge part of it. They've got their fingers all over it, and for good or for bad, they get a lot of hate too. But it's like they're just playing the game. They're just in there playing the game, and food ain't going away. So I'm on that roller coaster ride. But I did love like the 401k is cool, but it's like it's just invested in the stock market. I could go invest some shit in the stock market. The only reason I use the 401k is like I get the match immediately. I have a positive return, right? The ESOP was just cool because now like I get to own more of the thing that I work on. And at Cargill, I have this is gonna sound bad for the like diehard Patriots, but at Cargill, like the input that I have to impact the earnings is about as much as I feel like the impact I have when I vote. Like it's just my like I know every vote counts, but I'm just like the fraction of it. Like I just look at it financially. I'm just like, man, I might as well be ripping a pull tab here. Like my odds of doing anything are so minute that I'm the deciding vote. But I better go make that vote because it feels good, right? I don't know. It's like an obligation.
Gotta do it.
Obligation. I'm in it. I'm doing it. Actually, I'm not. I'm mailing it in because I'm gonna be out bow hunting when the election happens. So I got mailmen and I already put that.
How are you gonna get your sticker? You got to get your I voted sticker. Come on, now.
I think I'm not. Or maybe it came in my packet. I haven't opened the packet yet. If I got it, I'm gonna wear it out in the tree stand so all the deer know. Like, hey, bro, like walk by me. I voted. You owe it to me. But anyway, I like that was the best part about Cargill was I had the 401k and the ESOP. I had the best of both worlds, but they had gotten rid of pensions, and that was like a thing they had. Rob, in regards to employees just not caring about the 401k, he said, is it wanting money now or people just being very financially illiterate? And I think the two are the same. I think the financial illiteracy of not knowing how these things work causes them to be short-sighted, right? It's and I think it's a little bit of both. I don't think it's one or the other, but it's we live in an instant gratification world. We didn't have that when I was growing up. My parents were probably over the top of like it almost annoys me how little money they spend. Like my parents worked their butt offs. They did well. And they still are so frugal. It almost drives me nuts. Like they won't that like my dad's like, oh, we got trail cameras for deer out in the woods, and this power cord got chewed through, and then we got to charge this battery. He's like, can't charge the battery. I got my power cords up north. I'm like, Dad, a power cord is $10. Amazon can have it to you before the end of the day. Like you're literally gonna wait till you go back up to your cabin up north to get your power cord to bring it back down here to charge the battery. Just order another damn power cord to keep at your house. Like you have no shortage of capital to be able to make that happen and solve that problem. Why are we talking about transporting a power cord back and forth? Because all that's going to happen is you're going to move it down here and then be like, shoot, I don't have my power cord up north to charge my batteries for my fish finder thing. So back to Rob's comment. I think there is a little bit of financial illiteracy and a little bit of wanting money now. And I think it all kind of weaves together around this, like, people are trained for immediate gratification now. Like, they get it, they want it, it happens right now. They click a button and they got it.
I would think there's probably an exacerbation to an extent, right? Like in today's economy specifically, just, I mean, with inflation, like there is probably a component depending on where you're at in your financial trajectory or where you're at in life or whatnot, that like, a lot of people, they need the money because they need to buy groceries, they need to make rent that just went up on them. And like, so I don't disagree with you. I think there is definitely a lot of financial literacy, but I think there's also a reality to the fact that, you know, we live in a more expensive society today than we did, you know, just a few years ago.
Yeah, we're just always like price chasing. I feel like I don't like minimum wages. I feel like are the biggest double-edged sword. I don't have like a hard and fast opinion on them, but I feel like they're irrelevant. I feel like they're not useful. In a way, I feel like they're self-defeating. The minimum wage goes up and that labor pool goes up. All the prices go up. So like, this is just me being a finance person. All the prices go up and businesses work on margins. So if you need to earn 10% and all the prices go up, 10% of $2 is a hell of a lot more than 10% of $1.50, right? Like, but you still have a margin. Like your stockholders demand you earn a 10% profit margin or whatever. So your prices actually go up more than the minimum wage goes up, which means then that person gets that paycheck and then has to go buy shit at literally higher prices. Like the price level has to go up more than their wage went up because of the way profit margins work and businesses work. They work on percentages. They don't work on dollars. And I didn't make like, that's just an observation I have. Like, I'm not saying it's good or bad. But I feel like it's self-defeating. I feel like every time minimum wages go up, the lower class is way worse off. And it's funny because they're the ones voting for it, but I just don't think they understand that's how it's not like businesses are sitting there like, yep, I guess we're just going to make less money for some period of time, right? Like, no, prices go up almost immediately, right? Yep. McDonald's is just sitting there debating how many people they're going to let go and replace with AI at some point. It's just, they're just like, those people just aren't going to have a job. And like, that's cool. Like at some point we're all going to get replaced by a computer. You and I aren't even going to be sitting here talking to each other. It's going to be two robots. I don't know. But it's just so weird. Like, I feel like minimum wage is one of those things where it's just like, well, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, and if you were working at a job where the wage was that low, you would just leave. Right. Like our world is so much like, I get why unions used to exist. I get why minimum wages used to exist. We didn't have the information we have now. It wasn't so. Today I could have a job literally before midnight. I bet I could go get a job before midnight. I could apply on Indeed. Like, we could do this right now. We could have a job before we end the show. The world is so much more fluid. If I don't like my wage, I just go get a different one. It's so fluid. So I don't know why we have a minimum one. Just let the market set it. I don't know why we have unions anymore. Just like, be competitive. We don't need a union. If it's unsafe and you don't like your working conditions, get out of there. You can go work anywhere. It's the 21st century. You can have a job in the next 3 hours. You could be working somewhere else. We don't need these things anymore. Like, let the market do the thing. And it's just weird to me. It's just so weird. But like, we're creatures of habit. I get why things like that stick around, but it's funny.
What did that union just get for the folks on the East Coast? 50% increase or 50 some percent increase, something like that. Yeah.
And so just like prices are going to go up and the dollar is going to be less valuable. And then we're all just going to be worse off. And then everybody's making less money and it just goes full circle and comes back. And then they need more money.
Keep chasing your tail.
Yeah. It's just fun. It's funny. I like Hendricks said, we were talking about the ESOPs. He said, I like that idea a lot. Employees owning the business warms the heart. And again, like, I'm not super money motivated. I am very much employee motivated. Like in terms of I've screwed this up for a decade. So it's about time I got this right. I won't settle for anything but the best employees in the world. I've run businesses without the best employees in the world, and it sucks. And if you're going to run a small business, like I had a guy that was in my CEO roundtable group in Minneapolis. He had a marketing firm, and hilarious. He just said it in like the perfect way. I won't get it exactly right with the emphasis that he put on it, but basically we were sitting there and he's like, man, sometimes I lay awake all night and I'm just worried about these problems and I'm thinking about what do I do about this and what do I do about that? And then he's like, and then I realize I can do whatever the fuck I want because it's my business. Like, and I was like, I don't know what, and it just the way he said it, he's just like, I just don't know why I'm worried about it. Like, I can do whatever I want. It's my business. And I'm just worried about all these things, but I can do whatever I want. And so again, like, I'm not super money motivated, but I am very employee motivated and I can do whatever I want. And what I want is the best employees in the world. And I use Sean's recruiting system. We talked about Sean a little bit earlier. I literally am having conversations right now with people that I tell them I probably don't have a job for you for at least the next 12 months. I'm recruiting that far out because I will not settle for anybody that's like above average. It ain't gonna fly. It's not gonna happen. And that's like weirdly selfish. But it also is great for all the employees that we do have that they're just never gonna have a shitty coworker. And I want them to own the business. They deserve to own the business. They're the best in the world. We're not named super above average bookkeeping and best damn bookkeeping. And in order to be the best damn bookkeeping company, we have to have the best damn employees. And if they're not, like, they just can't stick around. It's not that they're bad people. They just can't be here.
They just need to find success elsewhere.
Yeah, they need to go to pretty fucking good bookkeeping. That'll be a great company for them. Not mine. Hendrik says you build your employees, they will build you. And it's just so true. If you have, like, small businesses are hard to run, but a lot of us make them so much harder to run by hiring the first employee that comes through the door that's good enough, by not recruiting far enough in advance, by letting them get away with things like showing up late and not doing this part of the process and that. We all do it. I've done it before. I'm not saying it's like I'm a genius. I've just screwed it up probably more than everybody else because we had so many employees around the country. I screwed it up so many times in a day that I put up with so much stuff. Jonathan checking in says, dang right, best damn bookkeeping. That's what I'm talking about. It is weird he wrote dang right about best damn bookkeeping. I just would have expected he would have wrote damn right, but maybe I'm biased. I'm probably biased. And Hendrik said $20 is the new $5. That's a good way to put it. It does feel that way when you like hand over a $20 bill. It just doesn't feel like a $20 bill anymore. It almost feels like a $1 bill. Like I just don't look for smaller bills in my wallet because I just assume everything's gonna have a $20 handle on it. Like,
I don't think you can eat at McDonald's for two people for a 20 won't cut it for you anymore.
Now here's a quick little insight because my buddy JC had posted a while ago. He's like, I don't know how, and he like posted a picture of McDonald's and he was like dogging on McDonald's. He's like, I don't know how anybody eats here anymore. The food, like, and he was dogging on just like the food at McDonald's, and he was like, I don't step foot in one of these places. And I was like, JC, neither do I, because if you're not using the app, you're a moron, man. You get 20. Like, I just had to put that spin. He was like dogging on. He's like, I never step foot in a McDonald's because he's like a macho dude, like health dude, and I'm just like a chubby redneck. So he's like, yeah, I don't step foot in a McDonald's either. I use the app because I'm not a sucker. I get 20% off when I go through the drive-through, boy. So
that's awesome.
Got it figured out. So let's Josh, I want to little digression. Not that I've ever done that before. This might have been the first time I got distracted and did the digression, but let's bring it back to the capstone here. If somebody is like, hey, this benefits thing, this sounds great. Of course it sounds great. Why wouldn't this sound great?
Absolutely.
You get more money in your pocket, your employees get more money in your pockets, and they get benefits, which helps you recruit to get better employees. The only person that suffers a little bit is the taxpayer, but you don't even know. They won't even notice it. You don't even need to tell them. You don't even need to tell all of your taxpayers that this is happening.
Or just tell them thank you. That's fine too.
There you go. So how does somebody enlist in something like that? Do they just reach out to you and say, hey, Josh, I could use your help? And who's eligible for it? Let's do a little bit of who's eligible and how do they figure out how to sign up for this thing?
Yeah. So, in terms of eligibility, we need 10 W-2 employees within the company, and the owner doesn't qualify to be one of those employees. So
even if your tax is an S corp and you're on payroll, you don't get to do it.
No, unfortunately.
They're on to me. They're on to me.
10 people, and then it's just a conversation. Get connected. Capstone Plus program is our website. Can schedule time or whatnot, but it's a streamlined process. We go through. We do a kind of a quick analysis for you. Then if you're like, hey, yeah, this makes sense, then we do an export out of the payroll system so that we can come back and say, for every employee, this is how much more income they're going to take home. And then if you're like, hey, yes, that's awesome too, then we just go through an implementation process. Whole thing can usually get done in about 45 days from start of the conversation to having the whole program implemented and embedded in the payroll platform. And it's, then we're just off to the races, and it's just kind of it just takes care of itself from that point forward. So it's easy.
Yeah. And that was not the concern, but like, that was one of the initial questions I had when we had first talked about it, was like, how the heck am I going to keep tabs on all this stuff? Right. Like, I can barely make sure that I ran my payroll this week. Like, how do I do it? And just the fact that it can be like included in just your processes and it's embedded in there and it just happens. I think that's probably the biggest thing for me, because I don't know how to do all this stuff. Like I said, I barely can. Nina on my team, my admin, runs my payroll. Like, if payroll was dependent on me running it, my employees every other week would be like, hey, Dan, are we going to get paid this week? And I'm like, oh, shoot. Sorry, man. Like,
my bad.
Yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to forget to do the thing. I just got distracted 3 times every time I opened the thing to enter the hours. So I think that's a key component.
And like you said, so the great thing is that it is just embedded in the payroll platform. So it's a set it and forget it kind of deal.
Are there, so let me interrupt you for a sec. Are there payroll platforms that work better than others to do that in, or is it just like a thing that they all can do? How does that work?
The bigger one, so like an ADP is, obviously I already got the hooks in it. So the larger ones, but at the end of the day, we haven't found one that we can't work with.
I suppose it's like all of them have the ability to do deductions and benefits. And so it's just figuring out how their little thing works.
Yep. And at the end of the day, it's usually, it's a quick phone call with, if it's not one that we're currently working with already, then it's a quick phone call to make sure that we get everything implemented correctly. But, we've got a whole team that's what they do, is make sure that we work efficiently with the payroll provider and get it implemented.
Right. What we got this election coming up. I don't know if everybody's aware. I don't know if you've been catching. I know Josh hardly gets these political ads because he's down in Puerto Rico. But for the rest of you, I don't know if you've been as annoyed as I have been with all the political ads, and it's like, I just know it's coming. It's like we can't get away from it. I actually think, and maybe I'm just that much of a contrarian, I know they're trying to like influence me to vote for them. The more ads I see, the more likely I am to vote against them. I don't know if they I would love to hear everybody else is like, I feel like that's a poll. That's what they should be advertising. We should all be doing a poll on, do the advertisements cause us to actually vote against the person advertising? Because I'm just like, I know, and I talked about this about the presidential debate earlier. It's like they're like lying back and forth at each other, and they're like and like Kamala did it a couple times, and that was where I was just like, this is just so full of shit. She's like, he's gonna lie to you about this, and I'm just like, yeah, but you're like literally lying as you're saying that, and then he's lying to defend himself, and you guys are like lying about each other's lies. And I just can't, like, my it's like Inception. I'm like, we're going so deep in your lies that I can't. My brain can explode. And I want to turn it off so bad, but it feels like. Have you seen the movie Idiocracy? Have you seen? No, I feel like you and I might have talked about this previously. You got to go watch it, and when you watch it, you're gonna be like, oh shit, like this is what's happening. It's like people. The real quick synopsis here. Dan Plodd's movie review. People get frozen today. It's played by Luke Wilson. He's the most average human, like in the military. He gets frozen as part of an experiment, and then a prostitute gets frozen, which is Maya Rudolph from SNL, and 500 years later, they like wake up, the experiment gets forgotten about, and 500 years later, what's going on in the world? And you can imagine. It's actually like in the movie, Luke Wilson's character is like wearing Crocs everywhere, and they picked them because of how stupid they were. Like, this is before Crocs were popular. Like, literally, they picked those. Like, those are the stupidest looking shoes. Like, of course, we got to put these on this futuristic Luke Wilson character. And then they ended up being super popular. They missed the boat. They missed the boat on that one. They missed the boat. Dax Shepard is in it. There's like a lot of good names in it, and it's freaking hilarious. And when you watch it, you're like, oh damn, this is like what's gonna happen. Like, I can already see it happening. And it's just so funny. They freaking nail it. It's a bit offensive, which is great. I don't mind offensive one bit. If you mind that, you maybe don't want to watch Idiocracy, but it basically, I mean, it's named Idiocracy. Everybody's an idiot. You can imagine how it is. Like, the most average dude becomes the smartest guy in the world by a long shot, right? Like, he was average, now he's the smartest guy in the world, and so on and so forth.
So to the political
living it was an accidental documentary. Like, it was satire, but it turned into a documentary. We're on our way. But Terry Tate's in it. Or not Terry Tate. Terry Crews is in it. He plays the president. Mountain Dew Camacho, because everybody's name is a brand. Like, they're all advertising everything every minute. So it's so good. It's like over the top. But then when you realize like the things they're making fun of, you're like, oh shit, like this is happening now. Is all over the place.
Now I'm gonna watch it.
You gotta watch it. It's actually my wife isn't nearly as full of shit as I am. She's actually like smart and like works in the corporate world and has adult conversations and stuff. And it's her favorite movie. So I think that's like a good testament to it. Even like smart, polished people like it. And I think that's funny. But I mean, not in her defense. What's the opposite of in somebody's defense? In Marty's detriment, she can't be that smart. She married me. Let's be honest. Like, she's clearly got a couple of screws loose. I don't know. You know, we're still trying to figure out what's wrong with her.
Not everybody can make good decisions every single time. Come on.
Yeah, she whiffed on that one. She's probably like the most important decision. She whiffed on that one. Maybe she was like a desperation moment or something like that, but she said yes. Actually, she didn't say yes. When I asked her to marry me, she said, "What?" That was literally her response. And I was like, no, like, this is a bad question. And then she like was stunned. And then I think she, like, out of guilt, she eventually said yes.
Come on.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know how to answer this question. Maybe it was like a surprise. We were out ice fishing. Of course I would propose when we were out ice fishing on Valentine's Day. And maybe I just caught her that by surprise, that she was that stunned that she said what. But I think it was more like, what? I've got to buy some time to really think about this answer. I think that's probably more what it was. And then
I think you found the right one when you found the wife that would go ice fishing with you on Valentine's Day. Like,
right. Again, so I feel like it was just well, I got nothing better to do. I guess I'll say yes. I feel like that was the type of response I got. But I'll take it. She's a good mom. We do all right. Oh, she's an okay mom. She left our kids with me for a day. Like, she's not that responsible, but
she did ask how they were doing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're right. That she was concerned about them. She didn't ask how I was doing. Did you notice that? She asked how the kids were. She wasn't concerned with my well-being. She was more like, are the kids alive? Hendrick said, Idiocracy is how Crocs were created. No lie. They tried to think a shoe that idiots would wear, and they came up with Crocs, and then they took off. And they did. I don't know. It's funny. It's crazy. We got this election coming up. Reminds me of South Park back in the day. I feel like it was when Bush and Gore were running against each other, and they were like, we got this douche in this turd sandwich. I feel like we're kind of back in that. And I'm curious, from your perspective, Josh, do you like this benefits program is dependent on government stuff. And so I got to imagine it's something you think about. Do you have like contingency plans? Do you have like, if this happens or this happens, here's other things we can do? How do you, or are you just kind of like I guess we wait and see, and And maybe if it's this person, here's some things we think they would do, or if it's this person, here's some things we think they would do. This is a long ass question. This is like part 5 of this question. And does that create a bias for you? Like, do you find, oh, maybe I'm a Trump fan because I like that. I don't know, whatever you like about Trump. I like that he does what he says he's going to do. But man, Kamala probably is more likely to keep these benefits in place, which helps my business. So maybe I like, super long question. I'm rambling. I think you know what I'm getting at. How do you perceive all this shit?
Yeah. Like my personal opinion is that one, like, even Trump last time he tried to go in and address Obamacare and like it didn't get done. I think stripping out Obamacare would be incredibly hard at this point. And will there be modifications at some point? I would assume at some point somebody's going to figure out some changes, but like I guess I'm in the camp of like I'm not going to stress about it until we actually get to that point, and then we're going to figure out how do we evolve and adapt to what's in place at that point, and how do we provide, our clients the best possible experience based on what we have access to. But for the foreseeable future, this is a part of the tax code and something that in my opinion, everybody should be exploiting and leveraging within their business, because everybody should be looking for how they can retain as much of their money. Like I'm a fan of I feel like all of us as business owners, we make better decisions with our money than what the government's going to make decisions with it. So
amen to that. Holy smokes.
Keep it in your business, put it back in your employees, put it in the growth. Let's capitalize on what we can.
So in general, I would say I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm totally putting you on the spot. So I guess I do mean to put you on the spot. Like in general, then for you guys, is it better if Kamala wins because it's probably less likely that she would change the regulations and then it impacts your business less because you're kind of built for it? Even if you don't agree with her, right? Like even if that wasn't the person you would vote for, is it better off for your business as the result? Just that's an assumption.
Yeah.
I make that less likely.
I think that's fair in terms of there's much broader questions of, is she better for everything, but for this particular, focus of how it would impact our business, I would say it's probably a fair assumption to say she's the less likely of the two to go in and try to make changes in that particular space.
Yeah. I watched the debate. I'm surprised I'm not bald after it because I was just pulling my hair out the whole time. This is my bias. I don't think Trump's great. I don't love him as a human. I do think he's actually pretty good at the job. I think he was one of the few presidents that actually did what he said he was going to do. And it's this weird conflict where I'm it reminds me of interviewing people. I interview people, and good interviewers are not always good at the job. And sometimes people that are bad interviewers, but they have a lot of experience and they're good at the job, they just suck at interviewing. And I felt like that was Trump in that debate. He was so bad. He was like a middle school kid trying to defend himself and just bullying, and which is he's just Trump doing Trump. And it drives me nuts. I'm just man, he would actually be pretty damn good if he wasn't such an idiot. I don't know. That's such a that's a oxymoron in and of itself. But I just wish he wasn't such a dickhead. I don't know. I don't know a better way to put it. I wish he wasn't such a reactionary dummy. Because he did a good job. He did what he said he was going to do. The economy is really good. If COVID was a weird asterisk, that's not his fault. I can't hold that against him. I actually, in a funny way, I think he gave too much money out. I think he created a lot of the inflation that we had and it wasn't just him, right? It was the entire political system of floating so much money that created a lot of the bubble we have, and Biden didn't help do anything about it. And then we have Kamala, who literally just awful. She just did awful. And I see posts about there's a satirical Facebook post about, hey, I got this employee, she's been here for 3.5 years. She didn't do anything she said she was gonna do. But she's asking for a raise and wants a promotion, and she's making all these promises, and I'm just that's just what it feels like. Just didn't do a good job. Didn't do a good job, but now she's gonna. All of a sudden, she's gonna, and like she was a vice president, so I don't know what power she has, right? I'm not a political expert. I think Biden did a terrible job, but I expected him to. So here we are. Like I got what I expected. And back to like it's just like it's weird. We just got two not great options. But do you find yourself swayed at all, like politically, because of what is better for your business, or are you like, hey, and I'm not asking you to say what you personally believe. I don't. You decide what you want to throw out there. But does that sway how you think from a personal standpoint, or are you like, hey, no, we just got to do like the best thing, and then like my business will figure it out from there? How do you reckon that?
No, my political biases don't change based on what I think would potentially be best for the business. You know, for me personally, like I want what's best for the country at large, and so. To your point, I'm in the same boat in terms of like, I feel like, Trump did do a great job in terms of executing policy and, all of that. So, but yeah, no, I'm not changing what I believe is the right thing in the bigger picture for, trying to make sure that we have access to Capstone for longer like that. I'm not.
Didn't Trump in that debate, and again, I was like, I'm surprised I have hair left. So I don't know if I caught it exactly right, but didn't he reference Obamacare? I don't remember if it was during the debate or during a rally or something, but I thought he had referenced Obamacare and said, like, we're not getting rid of it, but there's things that need to be changed in it. And we don't need to get rid of it. Like there's a lot of good things in there, but there's bad things in there too. And frankly, I'm like, man, the number of things I've gotten wrong the first time I did them, like, and I'm not dogging on Obama either. Like, I think like I like the idea of it. I think there's good intent going on there. Good intent doesn't mean good execution, but it's like the first time we tried it. So like, we got to make it better. It's frustrating that politicians get involved with it because then it's all these weird like incentive things and like political framings and like positionings. But it didn't seem like Trump was of the mind of like, we're going to get rid of this whole thing. It seemed like he was more of the mind of like, we got to like rewrite parts of it to dial it in with what the real intent is.
Right. Yeah.
That was my perception of what he was getting at.
I think the ship has sailed. Like there is no getting rid of it at this point. Like that would, I think it would just be too disruptive at this point. But to your point, like, will there be modifications, tweaks, evolution? I would have to assume so at some point. And, there's things that are written in, like, again, unintended consequences, right? Like, I think there's a part of Obamacare that limits the amount of net income that our insurance carriers can make on an annual basis. So the only way that like they can continue to increase their income, which as a stockholder, we all expect that year over year, our companies are going to make more money and continue to increase, gross and net. Well, the only way they can do that is continue to raise premiums year over year is the only way that they can continue to make more money. So like, there's just some of the stuff that's just unintended consequences that people didn't think through that seemed like a good idea on the outset. Like, yeah, let's hold them. They can't make more money than X, Y, or Z, but okay, well then all that means is we're going to end up paying more because we put the wrong limitations in place. So there's probably are some tweaks that would be helpful. Hopefully it's ones that don't take away benefits that we as business owners are capitalizing on and are valuable to us and to our employees.
I like Hendrick's perspective here. He said, whoever gives me more loopholes, my friend indeed.
I like this, Hendricks.
Yeah, he said, and I'm curious if Trump is elected. He said Trump's talking about not taking tax out of overtime for employees. I do like.
There's a lot of things he's talking about not taxing that.
Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, we need to tax people, right? Like we have things we need to pay for as a society. I feel like our debt used to be a thing that people talked about, and now I feel like politicians have been like, well, I'm not going to win votes if I talk about that. So it's gotten like totally ignored. I don't know who's going to end up reckoning with it or dealing with it. Like either me or my kids kids, right? It's like, it's like at some point in time, we're going to be effed. But the politicians have decided that they're just going to keep not addressing that because they won't get votes, and their goal is to get votes, so nobody will address it.
$36 trillion now. So
it's bonkers. It's bonkers. And I don't know. I have no solutions. I'm just a bookkeeper, man. But it is interesting watching these bullshit ads, and they both like attack each other for like, they're gonna raise your taxes for this and they're gonna raise your taxes for that. And it's like everybody says that, but everybody's too gun shy to really do anything. Like they're again back to like they're just pointing fingers and lying about each other's lies. It just cracks me up. But it will be interesting to see. Kamala this one drove me nuts. I think Kamala said she's going to give like $50,000 to every small business owner or something like that. I'm like, okay, like qualify as small business owner, but also maybe I'm biased. I work with a lot of small business owners, and frankly, like there's a lot of them that shouldn't own small businesses and shouldn't get $50,000. That's a huge waste of money. They should prove. I hope she's going to have, if she gets elected and she does it, I hope to hell there's some qualification that you need to meet that shows some form of that you know how to run a small business. Because if you're just a small business owner and you get $50,000, I'm just like, that is right up there with paying for people's college debt. It's the stupidest damn thing in the world. And I can't imagine that people would be like, yeah, this is a really good idea. Let's give a bunch of people that shouldn't be doing the thing that they're doing a bunch of money because they made a bad decision. Let's give them some money. There's so many good small business owners, but they're I think about restaurants. Every time I see a new restaurant go up, I'm just like, who gave them money? Like most of them are out of business within 6 months. Like, who gave them money? Or is it just everybody's like, I know how to cook a meal. I'm gonna start a restaurant with the $200,000 that I stashed away in my 401k, and then I'm gonna be in trouble, and all the taxpayers are gonna have to bail me out later. Like, who's like, yeah, these small business owners, let's give them a bunch of free money so that they can go suck. I'm being super dramatic. I work with small business owners all day. This is my favorite group of people, but not everybody. Just like being a parent is awesome. I love it. Despite me making jokes about my 3 kids, like I super enjoy being a dad. And it is not for everybody. And some days I'm like, man, I don't even know if this thing's for me, but this is the path I'm on. I'm just doing the best I can. But man, I like being a parent is not a good thing for everybody. It's not the right path. Being a small business owner is not the right thing for a lot of people. And it's not the right thing for a lot of people that start running a small business.
Right.
And so like giving those people money, I feel like let them earn the money. The reason I started a small business, and again, I'm biased. I am a small business owner. Would I like 50 grand? Yeah, neato. Do I deserve it? No. Why should you guys give me $50,000? I just told you earlier, I've been running this business for a year and I haven't even made $1. I'm not very good. Why would you give me money? Like, let me figure it out. And I'm again playing it up, but that's just so weird to me. That's just like, what are we doing? Why are we trying to allocate money to people? Just let people.
Hopefully, we will have learned from our PPE mistakes.
God, the amount of money we wasted.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I did see somebody, so going all the way back to the commercials, political commercials and debates and whatnot, saying that they think we should get rid of all of that stuff. And candidates going forward should only do like long form podcasts, like the Joe Rogans of the world, or,
Yeah. You got to be on this. You got to be here. This is all you get to do. If you're a presidential candidate, this is all you get to do.
Would probably be lead to better conversation. Technically, I would think, like, if you get somebody, like, sit them down in front and you get an hour or 45 minutes or whatnot, like, versus the random lies and banter going back and forth on a stage, or hurling insults on the ads or whatnot, like,
and just eliminate the news media. Like, get the biased news media out of it, Let podcast hosts grill them with questions. I heard RFK was on the Meat Eater podcast, and I'm an outdoorsy dude. I listen to Meat Eater religiously. Like I listen to it because I like outdoor content, but I also listen to it because there's so many things in this show and how I host that I model after listening to their show. Like I'm consuming it to try to be a better show host. They had RFK on, and that was such a good episode. And it really, like, I didn't even know who he was before that. Like I know the name Kennedy, right? Know that.
Right.
But I didn't know anything about him. And man, he did such a good job, and he was just a human. And he was fair, and he talked about the ups and downs of things, and it was so much better than the finger pointing bullshit of a debate and anything like that. And frankly, like, I was really bummed that he dropped out. And I do think this is like a weird conundrum. I don't know if conundrum's the right word. It's a weird realization that I had. Like, Trump's a Democrat. He was a Democrat his entire life. So is RFK, but they're the two Republicans. Like Trump is the Republican candidate. He was a Democrat his entire life. RFK was a Democrat his entire life, and now he joined forces with Trump. I'm like, do we even have a Republican Party anymore, or do we have a Democratic Party and a Socialist Party? I think that, like, it feels like that's kind of what we have. We have a Democrat Party, which is now the Republicans, and then we have a Socialist Party that calls themselves Democrats. Like, it kind of feels like that's where we're at now. I don't know if that's good or bad. That's just like a weird observation I have. Is like, the Republican candidate is a Democrat and has been his entire life. Very pro-business Democrat. Like, Democrats somehow over the last like 20 years turned into socialist, anti-capitalist, non-business person. I don't know when that happened. I feel like it happened in my lifetime. I feel like it happened with Al Gore a little bit. And like, that's when I started voting. So that's when I really started paying attention to it. But somehow we have like a Democrat that's the conservative, Republican candidate, and then like RFK, who's a Democrat, joined up with him. Like, didn't join the Democratic Party because he's like, these people are loony, right? Like, he's on record saying like, these people are nuts. It's so corrupt over there. I'm not joining that. Like, I can't support that party. It's so corrupt. It's so full of shit that I can't even do stuff with my own party. I got to go join the Republican Party, even though I'm a Democrat. And I'm just like, what is happening? What is going on in this world? It's like, it's idiocracy. It's better than it besides the all the damn ads. It's very entertaining. It just sucks that I'm subject to it. If it was happening somewhere else, it'd be entertaining. I just kind of am annoyed that I'm at the perils of it.
That RFK though, he's a good dude. I like him. He says a lot of good stuff.
He's got some quirks. He's a goofball. When he talks, I think he's about to die. Like, he's always sounds like he's struggling for his last breath. I think he did some drugs in his day, and he's got some repercussions from living a rough life. But he just thinks about things in just such a common sense sort of way. And he just and I think like Trump does the same in a way, but he's just a weird, arrogant asshole about it. So I just don't know. Like, but RFK is very arrogant too. Maybe that just goes along with being a Kennedy. But he addresses. There's a weird skill set. I don't know a word for it. There's a skill set that I see people have, unlike me, because it takes me about 1,000 words to say a thing. Some people can say a thing in like 5 words and they just nail it. And RFK has that skill where he just can like call a thing out and he says, this is this. He doesn't even say it's like this. He just says it's like analogy versus, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. I'm just a math guy. I'm not an English guy, I guess. But he just calls it out. He just nails it in like short form. And you're like, yeah, I can't argue with that. Like, he pictured it perfectly. And he has that skill set. And I just, when I listen to him, I appreciate that. It's like, he doesn't beat around the bush at all. He just goes right at it. He calls it like he sees it. And he just doesn't care what you think. And I kind of like that. He's not manipulating you. He's just calling it out. And we need that. We need somebody that just does that.
So the interesting to me is, so you got Trump, Kamala, of course, then you got JD Vance and Tim Walz, and then you got Elon and Mark Cuban on kind of the opposite sides, and then you've got RFK Jr. But who's the opposite of RFK Jr. on the other side? I don't know. Who's his counter? Everybody else has a counter, but I don't see his counter.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't think about it that way. Hendricks had another great one. This guy's crushing it tonight. He said, no matter who wins the election, we will succeed. There's no other option. And I think that is we get very emotional about these times. And I think one of the other things that annoys me about like election times is people just hide behind their keyboards and talk so much shit, and they act like they know. We don't know, you guys. None of us know. We don't know what the hell we're talking about. Don't act like you know what you're talking about. Don't start blabbing your opinions and stuff. And just the keyboard warriors drive me nuts. And the one thing I know for sure is like, I think Trump did a pretty good job. I think Biden's done a horrific job. And guess what? I'm still here. I'm just doing my thing. I actually in Walls, I was really surprised they voted for Walls. Like, I'm in Minnesota. I'm surprised they picked him. Minnesota sucks under his leadership. Like, our tax rates are up, our cities are unsafe. It's not, I won't go downtown anymore. Our state is a shithole. And I like it here. I'm not moving, but it's gotten way worse. And I'm like, what are we doing? Why would you pick him? I don't care who you like. Like, what? Like, you can't look at Minnesota and be like, he's doing great. Like, I'm like, man, I won't go downtown anymore. It's awful here. I won't go down there. I had a guy, I live like way outside of town. I had a guy like banging on my door in the middle of the night at like 3 a.m. trying to break in. That is not a thing that happens in central Wisconsin where I came from. That's not a thing that's supposed to happen in the neighborhood that I live in. Like, we're on a dead end road in a cul-de-sac and this is happening. And it's like, there's all this defund the police shit and all the stuff we've got going on in Minnesota. I'm like, his leadership around all this stuff has been terrible. Like, we're not safe anymore. Why are we like, this is the guy? Like, and like, I'm not dogging him. I think he's an okay guy. I think he's a nice dude. He's just not qualified for that job, right? It's like the same thing. I have a lot of people that worked for me that I fired, and it's not that they're a bad person. I will support the heck out of them. I'll support the heck out of Walls, but go do a different job. Like, it's not the right job for him. Like, he's not good at the job that he has. That doesn't mean he's a bad dude. I think he's a good dude. And like, I would love to go have a beer with him, but like, I have a lot of buddies that are really good dudes. They shouldn't be the governor, and they sure as hell shouldn't be the vice president. Like, that doesn't mean they're a bad dude, right? Like, and I think that like we get so caught up in like people, and again, back to the social media, people want to talk so much shit about these candidates. It's like, they're not bad people. They're trying to help. They just might not be the best in the job. Like I talked about Kamala earlier. I think she's done a terrible job. She's not a bad person. She wants what is best for people. I just don't think she's capable of it. That doesn't mean she's a bad person. Again, like we hire people all the time that are good people. They're just not the right fit for the job. That doesn't mean they're a bad person.
But it also doesn't mean that they're not bad people. They might be bad people.
They might be bad people. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm an optimist. They might be bad people, but I'm going to say they're not bad people. I don't know them. Like I said, I'd be more than happy to like go have a beer with one of them and chat them up. That's my jam. But it doesn't mean I think they're qualified to do a job. I'm not either. I'm a good dude. I would be terrible. Like, don't vote for me. I'm not going to be good. I don't want that job.
Although I would say you could do better than a lot of these people. So I would,
I don't think you're wrong there, but that doesn't mean I want that job. I want that job. Actually, I think you are probably wrong. I think I'd do a terrible job. Not out of disinterest. I would do a terrible job. I'd be unmotivated. I'd be like, man, that sucks. I'm not working today. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. Josh, when I think the last time you were on, closing question. I think the last time you were on, I asked you, I don't even remember what your answer was. I should have went back and looked. I think I asked you, because this is my like classic closing question. I believe that I asked you, if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing? That's kind of like my go-to. So I feel like I need a different closing question for you. So if somebody goes back and listens to that episode, they don't get the same thing here. Although it would be funny if I ask you that now and then we go, because you probably wouldn't remember what you said anyway. We'll see if your answers were the same. But I kind of feel like we should change it up from that question to, I have two super random ass questions that come to mind, and I think I'm just going to ask you both of them.
All right, let's go.
And we'll see where we go with this. The first one is, let's say you're not immortal. You don't get to be immortal, but you're more than mortal. You get to choose how long you want to be alive. How long would you choose to live?
Gosh.
I know there's a lot of it depends that would go along with the
I know.
answer to that one.
I mean, I'd like to say at least I'd like to hit the centurion status. But yeah, I think there is a lot of it depends, especially in today's world, on how long. But I'm gonna go with 100. Like
You're going to 100.
Yeah. I want my centurion status, and then I'm happy to check out.
Okay.
Call it a day. I don't need 2 centuries. I don't need to see year 30, 50 or anything. Like just here for a good time.
I literally just thought of that question, so I'm sitting here kind of silent, thinking of what the hell my answer would be to that.
I was going to say, how long are you sticking around?
I kind of think this is out of curiosity, I'm going to say 1,000 years.
1,000 years.
I'm going to go with 1,000 years just to see what the hell happens. Out of pure curiosity, I kind of want to see, do we blow ourselves up? Do we end up on another planet? Do we figure out how to travel through black holes? Do we figure out how to time warp? There's just some weird stuff where I'm just like, I'm curious, and I don't think it's things that I don't think are going to happen in our lifetime. Might have been my guest last week. We were talking about at some point the world. Well, I think Sean and I were actually talking about it on my radio show. I think at some point the world's going to come to there's not going to be a job left for a human type of phase. Like, I don't know how far out this is, but people talk about it, right? Like a global wage, because we don't have a job to do anymore. And I kind of want to see if and when that happens. Does it happen in the next 1,000 years? So I guess I'd want to live 1,000 years to see if it happens in the next 1,000 years. I might totally regret that, because it might, after 100 years from now, things might go to hell, and I might be like, shit, I'm here for another 900 years of this. So I don't think I'd want to be around forever, but I think 1,000 years, if you think about the last 1,000 years and the Middle Ages happened, right? The freaking Middle Ages happened. That feels like ancient history. And in reality, it just wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme of things, and where we've come in the last 1,000 years. And if you think about the technology we have today, and it's exponentially going faster, where are we in another 1,000 years? It'd be crazy.
Hopefully we're going to finally get some of those Jetsons type vehicles.
We freaking better. We better be flying around. Yeah. With magnet. There's going to be magnet things that take.
I'm going to need my Back to the Future skateboard. I'm going to need that. What about, did you see, just quickly talking about futuristic stuff or whatnot, but did you watch Elon Musk's the presentation with the robots and the basically the Uber car and the Uber van looking thing?
I saw some headlines. I saw some headlines about it, but I didn't watch it.
Okay. Well, you need to go find the meme that shows all of that, the robot and the cars and everything, and then they pair it up with iRobot, the car from it's all exactly the same. It's he didn't think up anything new. He just took the movie and then actually put it in life form.
I did see a meme about that, real creative, Elon. And then I think I actually commented on it. I was like, well, I mean, they're both modeled after a human, so how much different is it going to be? They both are trying to resemble a human, so it is what it is. It's what do you want your robot to look like? I don't know. You might as well start with that. You already got a starting point. People are familiar with it. You want, in his defense, you would want people to be familiar with it. Then there's more likely to adapt it, right? If it's too scary and looks like Dracula, they ain't gonna want one. So make it something that they're familiar. Although iRobot's probably a bad example, because those robots try to kill us all.
Right.
So maybe he could have gone.
There was that.
Yeah, maybe he should have gone a little off the rails on that one. What was the other question here? Other closing question. If you could be a superhero, but you had to have like your own superpower, like whatever it is. What would that superpower be and why?
Man. I'm thinking through all my Avengers movies right now, and
I mean, you can make up your own. It doesn't need to be a superpower that already exists. You can come up with your own superpower that Josh would want to have. Like screw the Avengers.
That's a lot of pressure right on the fly to come up with my own super.
And then here's one I just thought of. I don't know if this would be my pick, but I think it'd be really sweet to be able to like rewind 10 seconds immediately and just be like, for times when I'm a really shitty dad, for times when I make a bad archery shot and I'm like, give me that one back. For times when I'm playing basketball and I'm just like, oh, that was a bad pass, turnover, like, give me that one back. I got 10 seconds to mess with here. Times when I say stupid shit on a podcast and I'm like, yep, let me redo that. I got another idea here. I think a 10-second rewind superpower would be pretty sweet. I could do that.
So that's a good one. I think I would extrapolate that one and take a step further, though, and be like time travel in general would be a really cool superpower, because then I don't have to live 1,000 years. I can just jump.
You just go check it out.
Bounce, and then I go like I'd love to like explore the Wild West and explore like some of the different ages and whatnot. And so like that would be a pretty cool superpower, like just being able to experience more of history and future.
If you could time travel just once, man, we're just doing all these questions now. If you could time travel just once, like you get one go, when and where are you going?
When and where?
I guess because there's got to be like there's got to be a where.
I'm going future. I'm going future if I can only choose once, but where? I don't know. I'm going to say the Pacific Northwest, just because that's where I grew up or whatnot. So I'm going to go.
Go check it out.
Yeah, see what things are looking like, what the old stomping grounds look like, 300 years in the future.
Yeah, I like it. I think the future is. I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer, but I feel like the future is the right answer. Like go see something new. We got history, but
if I can only choose one,
one.
I don't like that particular limitation that you're placing on me. But
hey, sorry, man, it's my show. It's my. Yeah, I don't know where I think again, not a thing I had thought of previously. But I do have an immediate answer that comes to mind because the movie Idiocracy painted a picture of the year like 2053 or whatever it was, or 2503. I think I got to go to then and just see if they're still wearing crap.
See if it plays out.
Yeah, I gotta see in the movie, like there's garbage heaps everywhere, like everything is a garbage dump. Everybody's clothes are like fully branded, like everything is sponsored for every single person. I just gotta go see if we're doing that. I feel like they nailed it, and I just gotta verify.
But what was your where? So you talked about the when, but where's your where?
I would go to I think I'd go right here. I think I'd go to like Minneapolis where I'm familiar immediately just to see like it's the thing that's most relative to me right now.
Right.
So I'd have the best like compare and contrast. Once I got in the future, I'd probably do some traveling. I don't know. I didn't set a constraint on how long you're in the future. And so like if I've got a couple days, I'm gonna go like check some shit out and be like, what is going on around here? And try to like get some miles under me. And hopefully they got those Jetson cars so I can like get more miles under me.
There you go.
I go get around and scope it out and hope I don't get abducted or something. Hendricks, I got a good Hendricks says being able to materialize anything I can think of. And I really like that. And it's just making me like think of a bush light. And so just materialize.
How'd you do that?
Well, now I got two of them. It's cloning. It's called cloning. And my wonderful wife got me this mini fridge last year for Christmas.
Nice.
I keep it by the desk and then I just unplug it. You guys, there's not beer in here all the time. I don't just like sit up here and drink all day. Most of the time I'm working, but every Wednesday night, it only gets used once a week. Wednesday nights, I throw a couple beers in here and plug that bitch in, and it's like tiny little fridge, so it cools down real fast.
Very cool.
How to get some affiliate marketing. I do need, so we got Service Monster that sponsors us. And this is a situation that I'm in here, which is I will not take on a sponsor that I don't use, that I don't totally support, that I'm not 100% behind. I had 2 sponsorship opportunities before. One was a company, there was another CRM, and I like, they're fine, but I don't like their ownership. I don't like that they are always trying to sell shit. They text me once a week trying to sell me shit. And I gave them feedback after they tried to sponsor me, and I said, I won't represent you because I don't believe in what you guys are doing. And just crickets. They're like, hey, can you give us some feedback? I sent them feedback, crickets, right? They're just not my type of people. All they want is money right now. They sold out to private equity. They just want money right now. It's just not my type of people. Not saying don't sell it to private equity, but their behaviors are very contrary to mine, and I just won't take them as a sponsor. Service Monster also sold. Joe Kowalski, my buddy, used to be the owner of Service Monster. He had some personal health things come up. He sold to another company that does CRMs, and their behaviors and their culture and their core values are super well aligned. And we picked up right where we left off. I love Service Monster for that. They don't try to sell me shit. They just ask how they can help. And that's nice. What I want. I had another marketing firm that wanted to sponsor me, but it's like, I don't want to sell you guys shit. I'm not here to sell you shit. I haven't used their marketing service. I can't be like, hey, you guys should use this marketing thing. They're great because they said so, right? Like, I don't know. So I just won't take them they might be fine. I've never used them. I don't even know who they are. They approached me. I said, nah, I can't represent something I've never used before. However, the one thing where I kind of feel like I would violate that situation is if a beer company came along and said, hey, Dan, drink our beers on the show. I'd be like, well, it's not really a violation of my principles because, as a matter of fact, I drink all the beers. So I will also drink your beer. I'm not biased. Like, it's your beer cold, I'm in. Send me some beers. I keep them. I can fit like 6 of them in here. I will keep them cold. I will drink them. I will promote your product because they're beers and they're cold and I like them, and it'll be a great fit. So if you're out there and you got beers, you send them to me. I'll drink them. I'll talk about your stuff. That's all you need to do. You don't need to pay me. You just need to send me some beers. Like send me a 12-pack a week. We'll call it good. We're all winning. We're all winning. So anyway, I do need a whether it's Busch Light,
beer sponsor.
I gotta admit, Busch Light would be a come up. I did like this was the beer I drank the most in college was the old Busch Lights, and they're affordable. They're as good as any other shitty light beer. I was like, you can talk about whether you like Bud Light or Miller Light or Coors Light or whatever. They're just all shitty light beers. Let's be honest. And I drink the one that's the most affordable and usually on sale. And that happens to be Busch Light. So this is the one that I have right now. If Coors Light were on sale, though, I'll just drink that one. That one's fine. Not biased. But if you got a shitty light beer out there and you want somebody to drink it on a show and sell it to a couple people, I probably won't sell it to people, but I'll drink it. That's
equal opportunity. Love it.
Unbiased. I like, actually, my dad's saying used to always be, like, what's your favorite beer? I like Miller Lite and free beer. Like, that was it. Those are my 2 favorite beers. I like Miller Lite and free beer. And I feel like I'm kind of like, I'd put them in the opposite order. I'd be like, I like free beer and I like Busch Light. I'll drink either of those. So
that's awesome.
If you got free beers for me, you just let me know. I'll drink it. Josh, man, I appreciate you hanging out. We went deep tonight. We went deep. We got into politics. I'm surprised we didn't hit on religion. We'll do that next episode. We'll get deep in religion theory. Anything we did like 4 closing questions, probably. Anything we didn't hit on? Anything we need to touch base on before we wrap this baby up?
I think we had a good conversation around the world. So appreciate you having me on and taking some time, and pleasure as always.
Just having fun, man. Just having again, for everybody hanging in there, how do they get in touch with you if signing up for the Capstone benefit program is something that's a good fit for them?
Yeah, hit me up at capstoneplusprogram.com. There's link to my calendar there. Would love to chat with anybody where I can be helpful for them if they feel like this would be beneficial to their business and their employees. Would love to chat. And other than that, you can also just shoot me an email, Josh at ROC Financial Group, ROC Financial Group. And again, if just anybody I can serve, I'm happy to do it.
Heck yeah, man. Jai, producer man Jai, I'll put the link in the show notes for you guys if you're listening to the podcast later and you're like, what is it? Go find it in the show notes. It's in there. Click on it. Go hit Josh up and tell him we sent you or something. I don't know. Cool people that advertise tell you to say that. Josh, thanks for hanging out, man. That was a lot of fun. Business nerds, thank you guys for hanging out. Always appreciate you. Smash the like button. Hit the like and the heart if you're watching on Facebook. On the YouTubes, there's another thing to do. If you catch it on the podcast, give it all the stars, whatever it is. Appreciate all that. There's a thumbs up. Somebody's listening. Somebody's thumbs up and appreciate it. Subscribe. Go get the podcast. Like it's out there. It's on the iPhones. It's on the Googles. It's on the Spotify's. Go subscribe to the podcast. Go follow it. Go check it out. That way, if you don't get to hang out with us here and ask questions, you at least get to hear my bullshitting later. Appreciate you guys. As always, work harder. Or no, other way around. Work smarter and harder. Go earn some pride. Thank you, Josh. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.